Hey y'all, this is Cody with Swamp Dog Armory up here at the GunCon 2022 event up here at Brownells. I'm over here with Yeti. He's fixing to tell us about this beast of a vehicle we got right here.
Well, this is my completely inappropriate daily driver. I call it the OG Yeti, and it's actually pretty special to me. More than just being a bitchin' ride, is more of what this thing helped me accomplish in life. And the story goes, and I'll make it as quick as possible. 2001, I had a pretty bad accident. I used to race BMX, and ended up paralyzed. Had my left arm clubbed and pinned to my chest, pretty immobile, and handful of surgeries, like 5-6 surgeries later, finally got to the end of the table with the doctors and the specialists, where they said, you know what, you're going to be permanently disabled. This is something you're going to have to live with and kind of come to terms with at some level, right? And being an active dude, always outside, always blue collar, hardworking guy, that was pretty devastating. I mean, it shook me to my core, and I found myself kind of in that downward spiral where you start feeling a little bit of depression and you get bummed on yourself, right? And I had a good friend, buddy named BC out of San Diego, bring me up. He noticed that I was kind of getting pretty down on life and everything, and he said, you know, I'm going to show up with a cooler. I got some cold drinks and some snacks. I'm going to take you up to the local mountains, and we're just going to have a good afternoon. So he showed up in his old Jeep Wrangler and swooped me up, and we sat up there for a handful of hours and just talked about life and enjoyed ourselves in his Jeep, did some trail running. And when he dropped me off that evening, something had clicked where I realized, you know, it doesn't matter if you're busted up and you can't do what you used to do. You can still get out there. And I think it was by the end of that weekend, I had swooped up a little Jeep Wrangler for myself, and it was this builder that came from it. It was something like, I'd say 90 days, almost 3 months of just thrashing on this Jeep myself, that pretty amazing things started to happen. I first found myself with my arm was pinned and clubbed to my chest, tons of nerve damage, things like that. But what I had found was starting to sling some tube work and doing metal work and welding, is I started to use my arm a little bit, not knowing to myself, to kind of support some of the tubing or wrench on the Jeep a little bit. And within those 90 days of working on this, not only did I start to notice a little bit of movement and feeling coming back to my hand and my left arm, the surgeons noticed that, and it was an absolute amazing moment for me, because
there you go.
It's been 10 years or so since that happened, and here I am today, fully capable of doing the things I used to do. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if I hadn't heard that story from you, I would have never even realized that you was down and out like that.
And it takes a real moment for me to even realize that I have any kind of disability or lack of range of movement and strength. But you know, there's still things like climbing and pushing and doing things like that. I start to feel it, but every time I feel that, it's like kind of a pleasant memory to like where I was and what.
Like you're actually feeling that.
Like,
you know,
I'm okay with being a little bit weak on one side. It's good with me. But really, the OG Yeti, not only did it help get me back physically, my mindset changed. I started to realize life is pretty rad, and there's amazing people like my buddies out there that care about you. And you know what? If somebody tells you can't do something, you can still do it. You just got to be damn determined.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it all comes down to the mindset. And when you're having all these folks that you're supposed to be listening to, kind of giving you the doom and gloom speech, of course that's gonna affect your mentality and stuff.
Yeah, and really, speaking on that, it's mind over matter at some point. That does affect physically where your mindset is. So as soon as I got really determined that I was going to build myself a sweet Jeep like my buddy had, so I can go out and do the same things, I didn't think about my disability. I just thought about the next step. What am I going to do to make this thing rad so that I can go do what I want to do? And that overrode the thought that I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I was determined to do it.
You almost in a way forgot that hurdle, and you was seeing 10 steps ahead.
Yeah, I just moved past it, and really it was enough to be within those 90 days of working on this Jeep and getting a little bit of feeling, a little bit of movement. It was just exponential progress from that point. Another 90 days, it was movement of the fingers, and then it became the elbow started to wake up, and then next thing you know, I could hold a bowl of cereal, or I could hold on to two things with both my hands. So it was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. And you definitely got a kick-ass ride out of the deal too. I mean, so that's like a win-win.
Yeah, and honestly, I've said this before. I still look at this Jeep as a stock little Jeep to me when I look at it. But what I feel is the energy that I put into it and all the things that it gave me in life and all the opportunities it gave me. My partner in life came because of this Jeep. I had this Jeep. She noticed it. She had a similar Jeep. We started going out on trails and camping and stuff like that. So, I mean,
yeah, it's like everything meant to be, and it's going to fall into place when it does.
And it really was just that flip of the switch one afternoon with somebody that actually cared about you. And
yeah, and that also goes to show like how important it is to do stuff for other folks. Even just a simple phone call that you might not think
check in on your buddy.
That could, like you said, that could literally be a life-changing moment for that person.
I took a hard right. I was heading left down the old poor me trail at
Yeah.
that point, and
now you're on the let's find a new trail. What trail's going to try to get me stuck now, and I'm just going to barrel over.
Yeah, I've definitely lived life in 4 low, so it's been a hell of a ride since then. So I appreciate you taking the time to look at it.
I appreciate you talking to us. Absolutely. Y'all check him out, Man Called Yeti on Instagram.
Yep. You can find me there and anywhere else, the same handle. So
awesome.
I appreciate that.